basically it locked up and it didn't want to start. And this is what we come to the conclusion of after we pulled out the oil filter. A little bit of metal in there, just drain the oil, getting ready to do a rebuild, see what's wrong with this thing. In this area right here, I ended up having to buy a specialty tool to take off the generator. It's pressed onto the crankshaft. So the end of the generator is threaded, and this tool is threaded like a nut. You spin it on there, and then when you tighten down on the shaft, it pushes against the crankshaft and will pull the generator off the crank. Using was this tool. It's called a case splitter. So I got lucky. Shane had one. He's done a couple rebuilds in the past, so he had this tool. And so what it does is you find 3 holes evenly distributed across the case there to hold it down, and then the main bolt that goes right down the center actually ends up pushing on the end of the crankshaft. So what it's doing is you got like a bunch of silicone around the edge of the casing to hold it together, but in the middle there's your crankshaft bearing that is also inside the case, holding the case to the crankshaft, which is what the splitter is helping you do by separating the two. Yep. Got a little metal in there, boy. Right here we took the side of the case that had the crankshaft still in it, flipped it over, took the case splitter and separated the two to get the crank out. At this point, we flipped the case over and we're getting ready to remove the old bearings out of it. Instead of using a propane torch or something like that, we ended up using the just a electric heat gun, which ended up working very well. A little bit more controlled heat on it. So this is like some 1/2-inch rod here. Found a couple of nuts, welded those together. Got as center as possible on these two, welded it all up. That way my tool, will be held by the threaded rod. I found that this piece of cast iron plumbing pipe was about the right height and everything that I needed, so this is what I ended up using. Tool looks something like that. Set it down on the back side of that bearing, and you put something, a flat surface on this that has a hole, and I ended up using this bearing, which is one of your crank bearings that you pull out of the block. So basically it sits on there like that. Put a couple of washers down on here, and then you tighten this nut down,
It's going to extract that bearing, pull it right out of the case for you. Now, when I did this, I got this taunt and then heated up the case with my heat gun and then started putting a little bit more pressure on it. It slid right out of there, no problem. And then also we wanted to go over what the original issue was, which is this right here. Now I think you can see, let's see. Yeah, so here on the top of the crank, you can see how it's discolored. It's been heated up quite a bit there. So this, this rod is not moving whatsoever. They are one at this point.
Stay tuned for more tips and tricks on the YFZ 450 engine rebuild.